Hello, I'm Anne Robinson, and if my botox wears off, my face will turn into a scrotum.
It's Breaking the News with Des Clark.
I am Des Clark, and this is Breaking the News, the show that breaks the week's news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together again. Now, joining me this week is stand-up Mark Nelson, and with him is comedian and actor Rachel Parris. And facing off against them is best-selling crime writer Val McDermid, and joining her is stand-up David Kay. In the news this week, Edinburgh's councillors have voted to ban lap dancing clubs in the Scottish capital. It was a hard decision, requiring months of in-depth research and in-person visits. One councillor told his wife. Postmistress Marion Bruce is retiring after running the village of Potterton's post office for 33 years. Her retirement gift was a beautifully engraved pen, which she can't take home because it's chained to the counter. And suffragette and medical pioneer Dr. Flora Murray is to feature on the Bank of Scotland's new polymer £100 note. It's a fitting honour, as she was a woman who fought very hard for change. The same problem you'll have if you try to use a £100 note. Right, you've met the panel. Let's crack on with round one. And this is the Broken News round, where our teams have to guess two major stories of the week that have been mashed together into one single news headline. So, Mark and Rachel, can you tell me what the first story in the mashup is?
Scots travelling for the Easter break have been facing
8 years
disruption with cancelled flights, problems with P&O ferries and warnings.
It's now or never if we want to remove carbon dioxide from
Travel agents.
Mark, what is going on? Tell us the first story, please.
So this is travel disruption all over the country for people wanting to get away for the Easter break. Just when you thought you wouldn't have an excuse for not visiting your relatives, luckily, EasyJet and P&O ferries have ridden to the rescue. So the ferries is the main thing, because another company have come in to take over the ferries' routes, but they've now been delayed, and the company is called DFDS. And I think that's what shows when you get the sofa people to come in. I don't know what you expect would happen.
Oh, I don't know. If the one thing DFS can do is sail. Yeah, Mark, bang on, mate. That is the story of widespread travel disruption across the UK, just as many of us are finally trying to get away for an Easter break. Scots travellers have faced problems from EasyJet cancelling flights at the same time as ongoing issues with P&O ferries. There has also been widespread delays and cancellations across UK airports. Ryanair flights experienced check-in machines breaking, baggage being lost, and passengers getting so angry they resorted to physical violence. So it sounds like they were one of the few airlines unaffected.
One of the stories that caught my eye was the Eurotunnel. They warned motorists heading abroad to expect delays after a train temporarily stopped in the middle of the tunnel, and they're blaming that on COVID. What COVID restrictions, someone getting COVID has caused a train to stop mid-voyage under the sea? That doesn't sound like COVID is to blame for that. It sounds like a sort of Snowpiercer-style train coup. Can't make it out.
I actually had direct experience of this last weekend. I had to go to France for my work. I wasn't even going for fun. I had 4 delayed flights, 2 cancelled flights, 1 complete rerouting, and the final flight back to Edinburgh, there was no refreshments. And the crew said, "We've been happy to wait on you on this flight." We've been waiting on you.
David Kay, what do you make about all these disruptions?
I quite enjoyed them. I thought they were... I thought they were quite good. I mean, they weren't up there with the volcano. That was really good, you know. That was 100,000 flights that were grounded when the volcano in Iceland went. Decided to go a bit mental. I mean, this This was just folk phoning in saying, look, I can't fly the day. I'm not feeling very well. And then they said to the pilot, could you no fly 2 planes? And then they realised that a pilot can only fly 1 plane at a time.
Mark, what do you think, with everything that's going on, was this inevitable that at some point the Transport Network was going to do this?
I think so. I think this is all Brexit-y stuff. It's basically fate has gone, well, you voted to stay in this country, you will stay in this country. So.
David Kay, what do you think then? With everything that's been going on the last couple of years, was this inevitable?
Well, I saw this coming, you know, I'll be honest. I predicted this on the 3rd October 2009. You know, I just found myself, my mind was wandering, and I thought, you know, I wonder if in 2022, around about April, maybe as we're coming out of a global pandemic that many of us didn't believe would ever happen, would flights get grounded because folk had to phone in sick because they'd caught the thing. And I just thought, aye, it's obvious.
Yes, the Easter travel disruption hitting the UK is the correct answer. Mark and Rachel, well done. You get 2 points for that. Now to you, Val and David, what was the other story we were after?
Well, it's to do with Dad's army, isn't it? Doomed. We're all doomed by climate emergency. Because we've basically sat and twiddled our thumbs. Well, I don't know if that actually generates CO2. But we have sat there doing whatever it is that generates CO2 and not paid any attention to the fact that the planet is going to go on fire.
Is the right answer. Yeah, absolutely. Well done, Val. It's the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, who have released the 3rd part of the climate change report, but this time with an important difference. While the report continued to highlight climate change problems, it also suggested solutions and guidance on what we can do to bring temperatures down from a critical level. David, what do you think? Will this IPCC report make a difference?
It'll make a huge difference. I think, I mean, what, 3,000 pages? That's too thick to waft about and cool the planet. But if you split that, maybe you get 300 10-page reports, you know, and then you waft them about. And that would probably be more effective than a lot of the action that the governments will no take.
So the plan is to use 10-page sections of the report, give some to everyone, and we'll just waft them.
You'd have to watch. It could be quite a breeze if you're standing in front of like 10 kids and they're all waving the report at you. Oh, it could blow you off your feet.
What do you think about it then, Mark? This IPCC report, do you think it's going to make a difference?
I would love to think it would, but I don't think humans are yet evolved enough to realise that we're in danger. Because I'm very much like a lot of you. I'll recycle, I'll want to do my best. And then you get a week like we had a couple of weeks ago when it's sunny and you're sitting in your garden going, well, I'll probably never meet a polar bear anyway.
Rachel, what do you think? Is there actually cause for hope here? We're looking for something.
Well, does this answer your question? My stepdaughter just turned vegetarian. So yes, I think we're saved.
That one action.
That has caused me and my husband to be forced to have meat-free meals up to twice a month. So, yeah, I think we're on track to save the world, yeah.
Mark, what do you think about this? Do we actually have cause for hope here?
I think there is. We'll always find a way to get ourselves through a crisis. And if you saw last week that Scotland are one of the first people to trial a new way when people have died, rather than cremating them, because that's incredibly bad for the atmosphere, they put them in water.
Oh.
Yeah. We've gone one step further because my granny sadly passed last week and we just put her in the brown bin.
Did you put her out on the right day?
Well, see.
Yeah, well done, Val and David. You get 2 points for that. It was the mashup of Easter travel disruption and the latest climate change report. And at the end of that round, the teams are on 2 points apiece. Now, so much of our news is about public opinion, and this week we spoke to fashion model extraordinaire Eunice Olumide and actor and musician Tom Ury. So, Val and David, what story do you think Tom is on about here?
Definitely a step forward. Places like that tend to be very big and very airy with high ceilings. It's all about air circulation and ventilation, isn't it, really? Taking the sensible approach to it.
It must be the COVID face coverings in places of worship.
Well done, David. That's the right answer, yes. The legal requirement to wear face coverings in places of worship and while attending marriage and funeral services in Scotland has ended. Masks are still required in shops, some other indoor settings and in public transport until the 18th of April, but are no longer legally required at weddings and funerals.
What face coverings allowed you to do was whenever you went to a service or a wedding or a funeral or something like that, most people don't know the words to the hymns. So you could get away with it. You know, you could belt out, like most people do, you belt out the first, all things bright and beautiful.
As a former organist in a Methodist church, I hate people like you. Sing properly. Use your diaphragm. Coming from an English point of view, I think what everyone is forgetting is that COVID has finished. Honestly, you walk around London, it is very clear. All you have to do is look. You've got to chill out. It's over, it's done, and no need for all this cautiousness. Everyone can just stop with the precautions, much to the joy and relief of the next variant.
Part of the problem is we get into habits. So we've all been wearing the masks so much over the last couple of years. We've got into the habits of having genuine expressions behind the mask. Shown when we're fed up. Shown when we think something's ridiculous. Shown when we're beeling.
Yes.
And I'm concerned that, I'm just going to be walking about with my mask off and forgetting that I've not got a mask on and getting into all kinds of trouble.
The most contradictory one I ever found was when schools went back, when high schools went back and nightclubs opened again, you didn't have to wear a mask in the nightclub, but you did at school. So like an 18-year-old could go out and winch a stranger in the garage and then have to whip it on for double geography the next morning. It was weird.
So obviously we've got these rules which have applied at weddings and funerals at various points in the past. What other rules would you put in place at weddings and funerals? David, I'm going to kick off with you.
I think at both you should have VAR introduced. Because quite often you'll be sitting there and you might miss something. And you're like, what happened there? And you've got no way of knowing what went on. And if you could speak to somebody, hey, have a look at that incident again. And the other idea I had was play your cards right. But
Well, I think that the rule change I'd put in place applies particularly to weddings, and it would be to insist that men wear something under the kilt, because COVID is an aerosol-transmitted disease. And it's not just coughs and sneezes that produce aerosols from inside your body. I'm not making this up, this is scientific.
It's true.
It's true. Most of us wear a mask on our nether parts. But men at weddings, when the kilts are on display, sometimes don't.
When you just said, we'll wear a mask on our nether parts, I thought, I've been wearing masks wrong.
Yes, the change in face mask rules in Scotland is the correct answer. 2 points goes to Val and David. Right, Mark and Rachel, what do you think Eunice is on about here?
Are they trying to ban me up? Seriously, I'm not into this at all. I think this is a terrible idea. I myself cannot see any positives to this suggestion. In fact, I'd go one step further. It'll put me off completely from dining anywhere.
I think she's talking about how in England they've introduced that menus have to list the calories that a meal has by law every meal.
Well done. This is the news that from now on, diners in England will see calories on their menus when they eat out. The Scottish Government launched a public consultation on a similar proposal in September of 2021, and both Welsh and Scottish governments are currently consulting on whether to introduce similar rules.
I think it's not gone far enough. I think that it should go hard one way or the other. So I don't just want the calorie. If you're giving me the calories, I also want to know everything about my meal. So if I'm eating a cow, I want the name of the cow and the road it grew up on. Or go the opposite way. If there was absolutely no information on the menu, you just had meal 1 through 4. And that's all you got to know, okay? And they brought it in, and the only time you got a clue of what it might be is when they handed it to you and you had to judge by weight what it might be.
Mark, what do you think about it? New rules, they've got diners now seeing the calories of the meals. Do you think this is a good idea?
I think it is a good idea in principle, but I don't need another reason for me to be sitting in my car crying into a bucket of chicken wings. Do you know what I mean? Which happens about 3 times a week currently, so...
What do you think about it, David? We're introducing menus with calories beside the options. Do you think this is a good idea?
Oh, I think it's a good idea, you know, because I'm an athlete, you know, I really need to know what's going to give me the most energy.
Val, do you think this is a good idea?
Well, obviously, I mean, my body is a temple. It is a temple to the wee fat god Buddha. But I think there is one sure way to get us to stop overeating in restaurants, and that's to go to the restaurant I went to in Lyon last weekend, which is supposed to be the gastronomic capital of France. Mm-hmm. And on the menu, and I'm no kidding here, there was cow's nipples, calf's stomach, and pork intestines. Now, that really contributed to me not eating anything. I'll just have a light salad, please.
Could you see this working in Scotland, Mark?
I could, although some of the chippies near my house would probably... Their menu would resemble that 3,000-page IPCC report once they'd put all the calories on it.
You can see it. Margaret, how do you write a gazillion? That's the deep-fried cream egg on there now. The introduction of calories and menus is the correct answer. 2 points goes to Mark and Rachel. You're tuned to Breaking the News on BBC Radio Scotland with me, Des Clark. Now, this round is all about who's in the news. So I will play you a clip of a mystery person. All you have to do is tell me who it is. So Mark and Rachel, you're first this time. Who is this?
So what it is, if you look around everywhere, everything's made from chemical reactions. And catalysis is this thing that makes things go faster or makes chemical reactions happen that couldn't happen before.
David Macmillan, who has won a Nobel Prize for Science, and he's generously donating it to allow people to go to, Scottish youngsters to go to university.
It's Nobel Prize-winning scientist David Macmillan, who this week revealed he was giving all the money from his Nobel Prize award away. He's setting up a foundation with his over £400,000 prize money to help underprivileged kids in Scotland go to uni. The grateful students haven't said exactly what they'll be spending the cash on, but they will be displaying their empties in their window.
I think it's great. I think it is really, really good. I think more people should be encouraged to go to university. I met you at university. We did the same course, and look at us now. But I think it's brilliant. I learned so much. There's so much you can learn at university that you won't learn. Like, I learned magic at university. I managed to make a student loan disappear on a bank holiday weekend. So...
Absolutely brilliant. So there you go. I don't know if you're familiar with this guy, Rachel.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know him. Of course I do. I know all the scientists. No, it's really generous, isn't it? It seems like a really generous, nice thing to do. But it just occurred to me, like, he's getting young people to go to university. I just wonder if this is his way of getting unpaid interns for the rest of his life.
What David Macmillan has done is fantastic with the charity, but also, let's not forget, he's won the Nobel Prize. So let's see how talented our panel are this week. What do you reckon you'd win a Nobel Prize for? Let's start with you, Mark.
I would win a peacekeeping Nobel Prize and a Nobel Prize for de-escalation. Because last night, when I was climbing into bed, I accidentally knelt on the skin just below my wife's arm.
Oh!
And the fact that I am still here just now shows the skills I have for negotiation.
Rachel Parris, what would you win a Nobel Prize for?
I'll have literature, please. Is that still available?
Yeah.
Or chemistry?
Yeah, you can have anyone you want.
Peace is my favourite, but Mark's taken that, so...
David, what about you? You're a talented guy. What do you think you would win a Nobel Prize for?
Well, one would be acid trance techno at 128 beats per minute.
David Macmillan shared the Nobel Prize for Chemistry with Benjamin List for the development of asymmetric organocatalysis. The Nobel Committee said they awarded them the prize because they were too embarrassed to ask what any of that meant. Right, there we go. 2 points to Mark and Rachel, that was. Of course, Nobel Prize winner David Macmillan. Right, Val and David, it's your turn now. Who is this and why are they in the news?
I think I was about 10 years old, and I did a street newspaper where I lived in Leeds, and I wrote it in ink on a piece of paper and knocked on people's doors, and they read the local gossip, and paid a penny.
I think the man who got the neighbours to spend a penny there was the incomparable John Craven.
Absolutely right, yes. Journalist and presenter John Craven, legend. As Newsround hit its 50th birthday this week, the original presenter has been talking about the impact the show has had on the UK's children. He said, "It's such an honour for me to have started it." Yes, Newsround, the world's longest running children's news programme, is celebrating its 50th birthday this week. I can still remember, like many, the excitement I felt hearing that distinctive theme tune that meant only one thing. Grange Hill's going to be on in a minute. How influential do you think then was John Craven?
Well, I think it led a lot of young children to be interested in news because most news for adults is either too horrific for them to watch or it goes over their heads. But I would just like to say that it's not just for kids. Mm-hmm. I have found over the years that watching Newsround meant I didn't have to watch Newsnight for a week before going on Question Time.
So what do you think about this then, David? Was he a figure on the telly when you were growing up? How influential was John Craven?
I don't think I'd be doing this if it wasn't for John Craven. I really led my life by what he told me. I believed every word he said as well, because he had a jumper most of the time. And, he taught young kids that if somebody wears a jumper, they are trustworthy.
Is it important that kids have access to their own style of news, Mark?
It is, because it's very, very hard to explain the current cost of living crisis in 30 seconds through the medium of dance on TikTok. Believe me, I have tried.
Newsround makes the news accessible for kids. What else should we adapt specifically for children?
Generally, in life, I feel like everything already is so adapted for kids. You've got your little baby kitchens, kids' films, children's books, tiny Nike trainers, shampoo for kids, baby chinos. They already have iPhones at like 4. My 8-month-old has got his own home office and a Guardian subscription.
David, what about you? We're talking about Newsround. It makes the news accessible for kids. What else should we adapt specifically for children?
Maybe Homes Under the Hammer. I don't know. The other thing I had would be High Office, because if you're a 3-year-old, it's really hard to get elected to the cabinet. And, there seems to be quite a ceiling preventing them. And I think they'd be really good. I think in the climate crisis, they would be great because they'd be like, what are we doing today? Oh, we're getting a report. What use is a report to me? They'd say, I can't read.
Well done, Newsround's John Craven is the right answer, and 2 points goes to Val and David. And it's time now for our final quickfire round, which is all about deciphering the numbers in the news. So I will read out a headline. All the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. So get ready, teams. When we run out of time, you'll hear this.
This really does have to end.
That's Ed Sheeran there with a bit of a harsh review of this week's recording. Stick to his singing, big man. Fingers on buzzers. Here we go. 60 companies in the UK are introducing what? Val.
Staff to each other.
60 companies in the UK are introducing what? David.
The Happy Mondays.
"60 companies in the UK are introducing the Happy Mondays."
Yeah, maybe at a Christmas party or something like that.
Let's see if we can get this. 60 companies in the UK are introducing what? Mark?
A curfew and when you can say Happy New Year after you come back from Christmas.
That should be in law. Well done. The answer is this, that 60 companies in the UK are introducing a 4-day working week. Time for one more question. Fingers back in the buzzers. 99% of us are now doing what? Val?
Waiting for an EasyJet flight to leave.
I can give you the right answer, actually. I can draw this to a close. And it is that 99% of us are now doing what? We are breathing unhealthy air, according to the World Health Organization.
This really does have to end.
Oh, there we go. That is our klaxon. Ed has Sheeran. It means it's all over. And at the end of the quiz, our winners this week are Val McDermott and David Kay. And commiserations to Mark Nelson and Rachel Paris. And we'll leave you with the breaking news. Breaking news just in. Archaeologists have discovered a preserved leg of a dinosaur killed on the day the giant asteroid slammed into Earth and wiped them out. Fortunately, they know the exact time and day of death because it's the leg it wore its watch on. Two major Scottish events will return after a 3-year absence. This year we'll see the return of both the Stranraer Oyster Festival and the Border Union Agricultural Show. One festival is said to be like a sensual aphrodisiac that will get visitors in the mood for love, and the other just as hunters of oysters. And Ed Sheeran has won a copyright battle over his 2017 hit Shape of You after a judge ruled the singer-songwriter had not plagiarised the 2015 song Oh Why by Sammy Chokri. Sheeran said the court case was unnecessary and stressful, and he wanted to thank his fans for their support by releasing his brand new original single, Bohemian Rhapsody. The news is broken. I've been Des Clark. Goodbye!